Hello, it's me again. It's been a while since I made a video, and this video, as the title says, is about Brian Houston. Brian Houston, the probably former forever, senior pastor of Hillsong Church, the church I've been part of since 2007 when I moved to Australia to do Hillsong College, until I left in 2020. Is that when COVID happened? Yep, 2020. Yes, so I don't know if you know about the news, but recently there's some stuff. I'm going to go through the statement of the church in a moment, that the church made in a moment. I have some things to talk about, and just some considerations first. I think the media coverage of Hillsong and of Christianity and churches in general, unless the churches agree with their stupid agendas, is very unfair. So I would try to avoid going to the media reports. You'll see what I mean in a moment. Just because the media, they're just unfair. They just want to blame people. And the fact that Brian is a Pentecostal, Hillsong was part of ACC, which is Australian Christian Churches, which was before ACC was called Assemblies of God, which is a Pentecostal movement. That's what they call, I think, themselves. And Scott Morrison is part of a church that is part of ACC. It's Pentecostal. They're kind of friends, whatever it is. I don't know the nature of their relationship, and it doesn't interest me. But they like to pick on, they pick on, for political reasons, they want to pick on Scott Morrison. So of course they're going to pick on Brian for that reason as well. No surprise that whenever there's media coverage, they usually mention Scott Morrison. When they mention Scott Morrison, they mention Brian, and they mention Hugh. It's all like part of their thing. So media, unfair. Okay, very unfair. I mean, the media have their own agenda. You know the problems I have with media if you follow me on social media and if you listen to my videos. Second thing is, I am going to, when I have time, because I shouldn't be making this video. I should be studying right now because I've been really busy with my studies. So much to read and so much to memorize and so much to do. Oh my gosh, but I do like it. I do like it, but not easy. I'm looking forward to my next term when I'm going to be doing an easier subject. But anyway, I want to make a series of videos called I Am Sorry, in which I will apologize for the things that I taught to people while I was at Hillsong. Because right now I disagree with the doctrine in many ways, with the Pentecostal, most Pentecostal doctrines, and the things taught in churches like Hillsong, like mega churches like that. But this is not it. This is not the video. This is just a video about Brian Houston, okay? And third point, I believe in mercy. I believe in forgiveness. And look, I am not perfect. I have many problems myself. Okay, by no means perfect. But spare me with your oh, you shouldn't be criticizing the man. Mercy, like oh, this is amazing. This is amazing. Nathan Finocchio. And again, respect Nathan Finocchio so much. Theo's You, I think it's a great thing. I've been doing some posts for them, for Theo's You, Calvinist. Maybe not after this. I don't care, honestly. But he said this: Brian Houston has been a massive blessing to my life. He's done much more for the church in this generation than 10,000 pastors. He posted before that Brian Houston is the biggest church builder of his generation. Please, excuse me. I love him and honor him. I'm glad he has an opportunity to rest. I'm already looking forward to what comes out of him next. The only thing I'm looking forward to what comes out of him next, if he writes a book of all his faults and all the problems with Hillsong Church, so other people can avoid it. That's the only thing that if he makes, I will be really keenly looking forward to. So spare me with your mercy stuff. And the reason why you spare me with your mercy stuff is because when you are a pastor, a senior pastor of one of the biggest churches in Australia, a big movement in the world, churches all over the world, you can't hide behind mercy. Okay, I'm sorry, you just can't. I understand. there's a lot of weight in that. It's not easy. And when we get through the statement, we can talk about it. But I served in that church for 14 years. I gave 14 years of my life to that vision, and I'm not disappointed. And the reason I'm not disappointed, maybe I'll tell in a moment, but I didn't have a plan for this. I just have the 3 notes that I told you, and then I'm going to go through that. Because I was disappointed in 2020, and I'll explain why in a moment. But when you have that profile, okay, you can't hide behind mercy and forgiveness. You have a responsibility. and you broke the trust, and you broke the responsibility. This is it. This is it. It's sad, and I'm sorry, but this is it. And I served the church for 14 years. I help build someone else's dream, and there was always the language. Always the language. Oh, God will give you your dreams when you help build someone else's dream. I'm not making this up. I was there for 14 years, and I myself told people this and taught people this, okay? And I'm sorry for that, because that's wrong. It's not biblical, okay? That's not biblical at all. But yeah, build someone else's dream, and God will build your dreams. No, this is BS. All right, so I built his dream. I helped build his dream for 14 years, and I don't regret it, because I work with great people. Amazing people, some of whom are my friends today, and hopefully will still be my friends after this video. I'm sure they will. And so I'm just gonna say what I want to say, because I was there, okay? I was there, I did stuff there, and you don't like it, too bad, so sad. You can stop the video, go somewhere else. Why am I not disappointed with him right now? Because a lot of people are very disappointed. It's completely understandable. Imagine, again, you gave your life to build his dream and his vision. He'll claim it's God who gave him the vision. God didn't give you the vision. The vision, the church that I see. He wrote it, and he got lucky, and it worked out. Great. I mean, now, maybe not so much. But apologies for my cynicism. I don't think it was, like, people don't hear from God like that. The word of God is, my Bibles there's lots of Bibles piled up. Otherwise, I'll bring it to you and show you. My favorite thing to show you my Bibles. That's the word of God. Everything else is just things you heard in your head, and it's probably your own thoughts. But that's not the point of this video. Sorry, let's clarify. Why am I not disappointed with him this time? And some people are, and I'm sorry. You have the right to be frustrated and disappointed, because you trusted someone for that long, and that person broke your trust. I was disappointed in 2020, and that's the moment that he broke my trust. That's why right now I don't care. I really don't care. I mean, it's a bit sad for the church, sad for Hillsong, but I don't care. Couldn't care less about Brian. Really couldn't. All right. In 2020, don't know if you remember, there was COVID. I know it feels like it was yesterday, but there was also this whole commotion. It was an election year. So election year, you know what happens? Both Democrats and in America, both Democrats and Republicans just get the issues of the day and make a big deal out of it. More the Democrats, because they have the media behind them, so the issues become much bigger. So there was this whole thing about that criminal that got killed by the police. What is his name? George Floyd. Right, that guy. He was murdered by a cop. Well, whatever happened there, don't know. Not the point of this video. But what happens? There was this whole commotion about Black Lives Matter, and then Brian came, and in a service, made a statement. I read it five. I don't know. Probably the statement's probably on the website, but I'm not gonna read it because I don't care about the statement. It was like oh, we love Black lives and stuff. Whatever, great. But when you endorse an organization like Black Lives Matter, who is anti-Christian, a Marxist organization, doesn't like the family, it's anti-biblical values, a church has no place in endorsing an organization like that. And Hillsong had Black Lives Matter on the background for months, right? Stupid, like lack of any understanding and discernment, right? But then Brian, with a serious face, came and said, what did he say? I don't even know the sentence, but like, all lives don't matter until Black Lives Matter. That's a stupid statement. It's dumb because it means nothing. Has no meaning. It means nothing. It's like one of those statements that you say, it's a political statement. Why is he making a political statement that means nothing to support a campaign commotion, a political campaign commotion? And I know he didn't do it to support the political campaign commotion. I know he didn't do it to support Democrats, because I don't think he would have voted Democrats. He would probably voted for Trump, probably. I mean, he went to the White House when Trump was president, right? Why did he do that? Because he had to appease the people who were upset and boo-hoo, li, blah, blah, blah. Look, when you lack discernment like that, when you say a statement that supports an organization that is anti-biblical, anti-Christian, you were not a pass. Done. You're done to me. I'm sorry. That was the moment that I was disappointed with him. And I was very disappointed with him. Very, very disappointed with him. And I would have stayed at Hillsong if that was the only problem. But there are many other problems. Another one, which is also very disappointing, is how much some of the preachers like a bogus translation made by a criminal guy who is, and I know, criminal, go sue me. Come and sue me, Brian Simmons. Criminal because he's lying and making money out of lies. So it's a crime in some countries, all right? He claims that his translation is inspired by God because he had a vision and saw Jesus, and Jesus said, you go and translate the Bible. Anyway, a lie. It's a lie. There's no way this is true. This is biblically. It makes no sense. Okay? This is not true. If he saw he was a demon or something, or he's just making it up. I don't know which one it is, but it's one or the other. It's not Jesus. It's not God. But anyway, so that's this translation called the Passion Translation. And Bobby Houston, Brian's wife, loves the Passion Translation. His daughter, Laura Toggs, loves they will preach from the Passion Translation. Excuse me. If you don't value the Bible, the Word of God, enough to reject something like that, something bogus like that, I don't want to hear anything from you anymore. That's it. And Brian, I don't think I ever heard Brian preach from the Passion Translation, but the fact that he didn't tell his wife to stop, and he didn't tell his daughter to stop, as a senior pastor of the church, no, that's it. You're done. And those are the two main reasons why I left Hillsong. There's other reasons, but we'll leave it at that. That's not the point of this video. With that out of the way, it's coming. Come on. We just had a message at church about loving. Okay. I think I sinned. I'll have to ask for forgiveness after this video. So, let's look at the statement. I'm not even looking at the news article, okay? I'm looking at the statement. An important message from the Hillsong Global Board. The Global Board of Hillsong Church would like to advise you of some important information concerning your global senior pastor, Brian Houston. It's interesting that he's still the global senior pastor. I don't know if he still is. He should not be. There is significant media coverage around these issues, and it's important that you hear from us, understand the truth, and have knowledge of the actions of the board during these times and the heart behind these actions. If you were important, first of all, if this were important for the members to know, they would have told the members before the significant media coverage appeared. Just saying, why was this statement released only after the significant media coverage? This doesn't sound very good. Maybe they were prepared. I'll just give them the benefit of the doubt. Maybe they were like planning how they were going to do it. Maybe that's what they were going to do. But it does not look good. As you are aware, Pastor Brian recently stepped aside from his ministry duties. When he stepped down in January this year, the reasons he gave were genuine. And the reasons were he's on trial for something that I don't think he should. Look, I'm not a lawyer, but I feel like it's exaggerated what they're trialing him for. Maybe, again, not a lawyer. I'm not going to give my opinion on this. And the reason, because he's on trial for something and he needs to take time to talk to his lawyers and stuff. Makes sense, right? Situation with his father for many years had taken a personal toll that was greater than he realized. He needed to focus. He needed to rest. Makes 100% sense. Understand it. But that's not the problem. That's not what this statement is about. At the time of his announcement, the Hillsong Church Board did not make a public statement because we were still working through a number of issues privately with Pastor Brian. With Brian, I'm not going to call him pastor anymore. These issues are not public, and therefore we would like to share with you the details. We have sadly been dealing with 2 complaints made against Brian over the last 10 years. These matters, like all such matters under our code of conduct, were dealt with confidentially, except, okay, let me finish this. In both these cases, we respect the confidentiality of both Brian and those involved, and we also must abide by local employment law. We are a church that believes in grace, love, restoration, and integrity. Me too. I believe in that too. But when you're the global senior pastor of a church and you're hiding stuff that is against code of conduct and you're still the senior pastor, that is unacceptable. I am sorry. These are our guiding values. You can be assured that investigations into these complaints were treated extremely seriously. Each of these were conducted by either board members or a body appointed by the global board to hear and resolve complaints against credentialed pastors and were assisted by highly respected external pastors and advisors. The first issue was approximately a decade ago and involved appropriate text messages from Pastor Brian to a member of staff. So this is what happened, which subsequently resulted in the staff member she resigned. Probably a woman, I imagine. Who knows? Yeah. Resigned at that time. And that was it. He apologized. At the time, Brian was under the influence of sleeping tablets. Very, very sad. It's very sad. He was depressed. I know there was a men's conference when he talked about that he was having panic attacks and stuff. Very serious, very serious. I mean, you're going through all this. You're leading a big church. It's hard. It's hard being a pastor. You're alone. You have all these problems you have because we're all sinners. Don't fall for the charismatic, the Pentecostals who say that we can be holy, we can be perfect. No, it's a lie. I haven't sinned for 3 years. Lie. It's all a lie. Why are they lying? Like they just sinned by lying. People sin. Everybody sins. And as a pastor, you need to have you have to have accountability partners. You have to be able to be honest about your faults and your issues with people, so things don't get worse, right? And it's very sad for pastors because sometimes it's lonely. Because if you tell someone, they might judge you because you're the pastor. You're the pastor, and you were dependent on sleeping tablets. Like, how dare you, right? And that's basically what I'm doing to him. Except that he went further. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? At least talk to people and resolve your issues. But I understand. It's lonely. It's hard being a pastor. You have no people to talk to. Okay? It's hard. So, pastors, and if that becomes me one day, I'm speaking to myself, please be open about your issues. Talk to people before it gets worse. It's not worth it. Okay? Anyway. He immediately apologized to the person. We also worked closely with Brian to ensure he received professional help to eliminate his dependency on his medication, and this was achieved successfully. To this former staff member, we again apologize and we welcome the opportunity to provide further assistance if this is needed. That's 10 years ago. Is there more, like, you didn't provide assistance in the beginning? I don't know. Look, who knows? The second issue involved the complaint received in 2019. Following an in-depth investigation, it was found that Brian became disoriented after a session at the Hillsong conference, following the consumption of anti-anxiety medication beyond the prescribed dose, mixed with alcohol. Like, why are you in a conference? Why are you in a church conference drinking alcohol? Like, it's just all these dumb things, unwise things. Like, you're surrounded by people. Anyway, this resulted in him knocking on the door of a hotel room that was not his, entering this room and spending time with a female occupant. The investigation by the Integrity Unit appointed by the Global Board found that although all parts of the complaint were unable to be sustained, important elements of the complaint were sustained and the conduct was a serious concern. Like, they don't say what it is. Ultimately, the board found that Brian had breached the Hillsong Pastor's Code of Conduct. Don't know what it is. We also acknowledge that whatever the circumstances at this time, this person did not deserve to be placed in the situation she found herself in by Brian. We felt that we did all he could to assist the person who made the complaint and treated this person with compassion and respect and also abided by her requirement for her confidentiality. The board also met a request for a refund of money donated to the church by this person and agreed to that in order to bring resolution in a spirit of love and care. Brian was extremely remorseful and insisted on repaying the church for this. Of course he was. Dude, you just went into a woman's room, uninvited. You'd do anything to solve the situation, wouldn't you? We apologize unreservedly to the people affected by Brian's actions and commit to being available for any further assistance we can provide. Now, this is where it gets very, very interesting. Following that investigation, Brian agreed to take specific action, including stepping down from leadership for a period. However, unfortunately, he failed to take all of the agreed steps, which resulted in further action being taken by the board in late 2021. Brian remains on a period of leave. This was in 2019. He rejected the discipline from the board, and he did whatever he wanted. Like, what the actual heck? How does this happen? I'll tell you how it happens in a moment. Let me give you a second. The board has always endeavored to act biblically in accordance with good governance. I know some people on this board. Okay? And they are great people. There's some great people at Hillsong. And I'm sure they are as devastated as the members who are devastated. I'm sure they are devastated. But there's just so much dumbness in this that is like, it's amazing. It's amazing. Amazing. However, we understand that there has been a significant breach of trust Oh, really? The board has been seeking external wise counsel and is reviewing our governance structure and measures to ensure higher levels of accountability across Hillsong Church globally. Like many other churches of its size, Hillsong's governance model has historically placed significant control in the hands of the senior pastor, but we recognize that the way we do things needs to be reviewed. That is the problem. Oh, that's one of the problems. The fact that Brian, when he was senior pastor, had so much power. And I don't mean power like, it's the subtle things. It's the subtle things they say. Okay? Let me switch the camera so you can see me fully. It's the subtle things they say. It's the things like, build someone's dream and God will build your dream. It's a lie. It's not in the Bible. Okay? They get some stories from the Old Testament and come up with like these absurd points. It's not biblical. No. You want to know which dream you want to build? God's dream. Yeah? You're a Christian. You're here to build his kingdom, not someone else's church. Not a church. You're not building the church. Jesus is building the church. All you have to do is obey Jesus. Make disciples. Go and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. And you know that I'll be with you always until the end of the age, or something like that. Matthew 28. Last parts of Matthew. Don't build other people's dreams. Don't have allegiance to a person. That's what happens, okay? And they say that from the stage. Let me just tell you a story. Well, there's so many stories. Like Brian will go from stage and he'll say things from stage. And people on staff will pick it up and make decisions based on things he said on stage. Even if he didn't directly told them, I wanted to do this. He'll just say stuff and people will do it. That was so funny. There was one day he was complaining about the name like Worship and Creative Arts or Creative or something. Whatever, Worship and Creative, I don't know what it was. I can't remember exactly. And he was like, why is it called this? Why don't we call it something like, and he was just like musing with himself on stage. And then he had to specifically and explicitly tell people, I'm not telling you to change the name, because he knew that they would try to find a new name and present to him to be approved. That's for you to see the power that he had. And that many mega churches out there, like look at Stephen Furtick, same thing, so charismatic, so beautiful, so brave. He is almighty. Jeez. Same thing, that's a big problem. Big problem in mega churches, big problem in churches that have this governance model where the personality is the authority, where the person is the authority, right? Another story that I'll tell you, and this was from staff meeting, that I worked at Hillsong for a year. And I probably signed NDAs, I don't care. I went to staff meeting. I went to staff meeting before and after. Come and sue me. Ben Fielding and Tim Winkop, the two people with a legal degree at Hillsong. It was at least 2 years ago. Ben Fielding, actually quite impressive. I think he has a PhD or a doctorate in law, which is like quite impressive. In addition to having like a Grammy or Amy, which one is the one with music? Whatever this award that people in the industry give each other to feel better about themselves, like Pulitzer Prizes, and stuff like that, like Oscars and such. Anyway, sue me. By all means. One day, a staff meeting, he was complaining that, what was the complaint? It was like such a stupid thing. He was complaining there was mold on the ceiling, on the back stairs from the car park. And it was in a staff meeting saying, you would think, knowing that this is where the senior pastor walks every day, that they would clean the mold in the ceiling. But no. Couldn't be bothered to clean the mold in the place where the senior pastor walks every day. It was just like, wow. Okay. Okay. Just some examples to show you the power. So it's good. It's good. Let's go back to the statement. It's good that the board recognized this. Okay. Like many other churches of its size, Hillsong's governance model historically controlling the hands of senior pastor. We recognize the way needs to be reviewed, and I hope they review, and I hope that changes for the sake of the church, for Hillsong, for the sake of the people still there, for the sake of the Church of Jesus, because while I have disagreements with Pentecostal churches, they're secondary issues. I believe many people at Hillsong are actually part of the family. They are my brothers and sisters in Christ, and I want the best for them. I want the best for Jesus' church. So whenever something happens to a specific church, it's sad. Like, it's sad that Furtick is such, like, a bad preacher, bad leader. Like, but there's many people in that church who actually truly believe in Jesus and follow him in a genuine. But it's unfortunate that there's all these leaders, they're corrupt. And maybe they're genuine too, but they are so deceived. Anyway, we're here for you. As we work through this together, we are available to help and offer you support. Our pastoral care team can be contacted through our church office, blah, blah, blah. We believe at this time to focus our attention on the God who restores and rebuilds. They encourage you to continue to meet together regularly, not just on Sundays, but in connect groups. Good. Yeah, of course. I mean, Brian is not the church. In fact, he's probably out of the church now. He should be. He should never come back. Our interim global senior pastors, Phil and Lucinda Dooley, are doing an amazing job under difficult circumstances. Now, if you wanna see if they're doing an amazing job or not, I recommend you watch, what's his name? The Pirate Christian, Fighting for the Faith, where he talks about, is Phil and Lucinda Dooley qualified to be senior pastor of Hillsong? It's a good video. He's a bit too critical, okay? Me, knowing Hillsong and knowing the people, he's a little bit too critical, but he's not right. He's not wrong in many of his points. Too long didn't read, they are not qualified. We want to thank them and ask you to keep praying for everyone involved and for our church. We love you and thank you for your ongoing support. Hillsong Global Board. Now, thinking about this, okay? Some things became, and this is me speculating now, okay? This is me speculating. This is all speculation. Remember when Carl Lenz was removed? And I know this is from a news website. It's from Eternity News. It's allegedly a Christian, but still, it's news. So, don't believe journalists. Journalists are terrible, man. Remember when Carl Lenz was fired? Yeah, because he had a extramarital relationship. In my opinion, I thought he should have been fired long ago, long before that happened. Because he was getting progressive in his theology. He went into TV shows, like he was like so famous, so beautiful, so brave. Everybody wanted to talk to him. He went on Oprah. He went on whatever the other American shows. He went with the crazy ladies from, what is it called? The Joy Reid and whatever. The View, whatever, is that what it's called? Crazy screaming ladies. And they asked him questions like, is abortion a sin? Is homosexuality a sin? How are you saved? Are you saved by Jesus alone? Oh, well, no, we can't really answer that question. Dude, you're a pastor. You're there to preach the gospel. You can't preach the gospel because you know that if you preach the gospel, they're not going to invite you again. But you like to be invited to those things, don't you? All the fame, the recognition, the love, all the things, all the new fresh shoes and clothes that you get for free. Oh, I like them too. I mean, I love shoes. Look at my shoes. I have lots of shoes. Okay, sorry, I'm in front of them. I love shoes. Don't get me wrong. I love shoes. But you know what I love more? The truth. And Jesus. Okay? More than shoes. I'll give up all my shoes now, if I had to stand for the truth. I'll give up everything. Okay? Because being a Christian costs you everything. Everything. But anyway, back to the point. Ask the questions and he can't answer the questions because he doesn't want to stand on the truth because he knows he's going to get pushed back and be rejected. Anyway, and then he goes and like starts giving platform to Black Lives Matter people. Like, what is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? Unbelievable. That was the time when he should have been fired. Okay, that was the time. He's not qualified to be a pastor anymore. He can't stand on the truth. He can't preach the gospel. He gets asked questions. He doesn't answer them truthfully and accurately with the Bible. He doesn't preach properly. That's it. You're not qualified to be a pastor. But anyway, he didn't. And we know that he didn't. And we know that there were other issues beforehand because of the statement that Brian said. Let's see. Something about when we talk about an affair, these issues were more than one affair. They were significant. And at least some bad moral behavior had gone back historically, but not necessarily those affairs. So I can only say before God, the first time I've heard any moral complaint against Carl was when Tolu contacted me. Tolu Baders was someone from Hillsong, New York City. And so if anyone's wondering whether this was something that we knew about, no, it's not. And to be honest, I'm not downplaying the seriousness of it all. But if it was just about a moral failure, perhaps it would have been possible to work it. See, that's the thing. As a pastor, you commit adultery, you're done. It's the end. The Bible is clear But then again, they read Timothy and they don't think that when Paul says women should not have authority over men, they don't read that oh no, this is just for that specific church. So it's understandable when they get the moral qualifications for pastors, for elders and deacons. They're like, yeah, it's all right. We believe in grace and forgiveness. Me too. But not as a pastor anymore. This is serious. It's God's sheep. Okay, this is just me making a video here. Okay, I'm not a pastor. I'm making a video, and I'm not perfect. All right, and maybe someone's gonna come and complain about something I did. Right? Oh, whatever it could be. It's one thing. But if I'm a pastor, if I'm leading, you need to understand the seriousness of this. This is the God that couldn't show his face to Moses because Moses would die. Okay, this is the God that when Isaiah saw him on the throne, he said, for 5 chapters in Isaiah, he said, woe to you, woe to you, woe to you, woe to you, woe to you. He saw God and it's like, woe to me. I am ruined. I am ruined. Because I'm a man of unclean lips and I live amongst people of unclean lips. This is the God. You were pastor of his sheep. Okay? When you understand the holiness of God, you understand that pastors and leaders in the church should be above reproach. Above reproach. That's... Anyway. So we're talking about these issues were more than a failure. They were significant. Blah, blah, blah. If it was just one moral failure, it'll be possible. We'll work it through. Restoration, whatever. They don't even do church discipline at Hillsong. Okay? When they do it secretly. That's not how church discipline is done in a church. But the nature of where my relationship with Carl was up to, and then add the significant nature and the serious nature of the moral issues, just meant that I believe in our global board belief. So look at this, okay? Look at me hypothesizing here. Look at me hypothesizing here. Carl being part of the core team of Hillsong, because the way it was structured at the time, and I know this, because I know this, okay? I have insider information on how this worked. Don't know how it is now. But Brian was a global senior pastor, and all the lead pastors of every nation were under him. Okay? Surely, if there was a moral failure with Brian, and if they were investigating Brian, they would have at least told these people. Now, this I don't know. I'm just hypothesizing. So, why do you think Brian... Again, this is me. Just so it's very clear, I'm just making this up. I'm just thinking. Because I'm thinking, now I get all these events and I try to piece them in my mind, okay? And I could be wrong. I could be totally wrong. Why couldn't Brian fire Carl with all this moral, serial nature of the moral issues, significant nature? He said that he had some conflicts, leadership conflicts. Why? Do you think that maybe Carl knew things about him? That if he fired Carl, it will backfire on him? Maybe? Not saying this is true. I'm just saying it's very possible. Why did he go and bow down to Black Lives Matter when he did? For the same reason, I believe, that Carl did. Because when you bow down to them, you can do anything. You can do anything. Just look at some Democrat governors in America. They wore blackface 20 years ago, 30 years ago, whenever that was. Nobody cares. They can say the N-word. They can do whatever they want. They can even allegedly abuse people. Okay? And they're still there as long as it's not like impossible to cover it up with the media. You see what I'm saying? So maybe, perhaps this whole bowing down to Black Lives Matter, this whole bowing down to Carl Lenz and waiting to fire him. Makes sense in my mind. Now, I could be wrong. Again, I could be wrong. And this is being 30 minutes. And I'm going to stop now. But this was good. Felt good. Now, when I call people stupid, this is the thing. Above reproach. We need to be above reproach as Christians. Okay. And I'm gonna say to myself, it's not nice. It's not nice to call each other's names. And for that, I apologize. But people do foolish things and they do dumb things. And it's unbelievable. It's just... Anyway, thanks so much for watching. And I'm looking forward to studying. because that's what I should be doing. But I'm also looking forward to, at the right time, to make a series of videos on I am sorry. And I'm going to tell you all the things I'm sorry about. Maybe not all, but like the things I can remember at least. And clarify, and hopefully it will be a moment to teach as well. To teach. Avoid them. Avoid these things. Don't do what I did. Don't be dumb like me. Aren't we all dumb? We're all dumb. We all make mistakes. We all sin. We're all deceived at some point. And that's why I hold the Bible as such a high standard, because I don't want to listen to people saying, God spoke to me, God spoke to me, God spoke to me. No, not interested. Not interested. The heart is deceitful above all things. Okay. I don't trust in you. I don't trust in my heart. Why would I trust in your heart? Until next time.